What is up, guys? Sumi here, and today let's talk about how to stabilize your long-term relationships. If you want a long-term relationship, a healthy, stable, long-term relationship, it's important that you listen to this. Now, there are three major things I'm going to go into here, and the last one I'm really going to expand on because I think it needs to be talked about quite a bit. But the first thing you got to understand is if you're trying to get in a long-term relationship, you have to understand that long-term relationships are not built on love. They're not built on, oh my God, I have this amazing connection with this person. Oh my God, our sex is so great. Oh my God, we just love the same things. That is not what builds a long-term relationship. That's good to have in any relationship. Trust me, it is. It's wonderful. But your long-term relationship is built by communication, shared beliefs, shared goals, compassion, empathy, trust, loyalty, honesty. It's like the basic values of what you should be looking for in a relationship. And a lot of you might be like, well, duh, obviously, but no. You date people that you don't trust. You date people that aren't honest to you. You date a partner that isn't going to be there for you when you're sick, but you have all the same favorite movies and you guys have the same color that you like and you like the same things. This is not what makes a long-term relationship. Many of us lead with love and intimacy before actual, compatibility. Are they the same religion as you? Do they have the same beliefs as you? Do they think the same way that you do? Are they going to handle a situation in a similar fashion as you are? God forbid, if there's something that comes up, can you guys deal with it in a very similar manner? It doesn't even have to be the correct way. It really comes down to you guys dealing with the situation in the same way. So let me give you an example. So people tell me all the time about 50-50 relationships, about, provider relationships. A 50-50 relationship is fine. A relationship where a woman pays for a man completely is also fine, as long as both parties are on board and they signed up for the same thing. These all work. Every single style of relationship really works. It's just a probability case scenario. You're going to have a lot more success as a man a lot of times by being a 100% provider. Even as a woman, just keeping it real. It's just going to be more of a success rate. Because everybody likes being provided for. Even men like that. Deep down, it's not bad getting your girl to pay for something. Some men out there are emasculated by it, but the reality is if your girl can financially contribute, it's a good thing. And in a modern day society, in a capitalistic society, one income isn't really what we're built for anymore. It's usually a two-income household in a lot of cases. So, if you're going to provide, it's going to provide you more opportunity. But it's not what you have to do in every single scenario. And if you don't want to do that, that's fine. If you're a girl and you want a guy to pay for everything, that's fine. You just have to understand that the amount of men that you're going to interact with that are going to be willing to do that is going to be far less than if you're willing to 50-50 it. And I'm just keeping it real, right? So there's a lot of coaches out there that talk about, oh, these are the standards of what it should be. That's for them. It doesn't have to be for you. But if you want that, you can obviously adopt that standard and that lifestyle. But be very cautious to listen to people that are advocating a certain one-track mindset of this is the way it should be, because it's not the case. Relationships can work out in a multitude of ways. They can really be very, very functional in different dynamics. But the big thing I'll say here is that love and that intimacy and that emotional connection, that is not what stabilizes, keyword, long-term relationships. You can have an amazing summer fling. You can have an amazing short-term winter cuddle partner, and that's all cool. But if you want a long-term relationship, it has to be built on trust, compatibility, shared beliefs, shared ethics. You handle the things the right way. You obviously are loyal to this person. These are the things that really matter. And this goes into number 2. Okay, the second thing that I want you to understand, shared goals. You got to make sure this person has the same goals as you. Many of us don't ask the right questions on the first date or don't ask the right questions when we build the foundation with the person. You need to know what their goals are. A really healthy couple or partnership goes over their goals. I know it sounds cringy and weird, but you need to have weekly meetings, monthly meetings with your partner to go over what your goals are as a partnership, to go over what you want to do as a team, to go over where you want to be in a year, in 6 months, in 5 years. You need to be going over this stuff. You want to build a long-term relationships, you got to start planning out your long-term goals. You both have to have a vision together that you build in your mind first and then put on a paper and then expand on an Excel document or some kind of Word doc. You need to be really doing this stuff. A partnership is almost like a business. And when you treat your relationship as a good business, right? I don't mean to make it transactional, but you're serious about it, you're intentional about it, you really care about it, you care about its success, you're going to win in the long term. And so on the first date, it may be asking, hey, what are some goals that you have for the end of the year? You seem really driven. Is there something that you want to accomplish before the end of the year? Or, you seem like you have a lot going on. So what's your biggest thing that you're focusing on for next year? And just listen to them. Listen to them and compare them to yours. Because the worst thing that can happen is that you meet this amazing person. You build up this intense chemistry with them. You're loyal to them. You're honest with them. But 2-3 years down the road, they're going in a different direction than you. And it breaks your heart because this person they're not going the same direction as you. And unfortunately, even though they're a great person and you're a great person, it just doesn't work out. You're moving in different directions. And this might be like, for some of you, some people want to get married and have kids. Some of you don't. Some of you want to live in a penthouse and have a Ferrari in the garage. Some of you want to live in the country and have, a lot of acres and land. Some of you want to travel the world. Some of you really just want to lock down and have a home base and conquer a city. Some of you want to, learn new languages and meet new people and fornicate in tons of different ways. And some of you want to be very close to God and, stay focused on one partner and building one person up in that partnership. There's a lot of different things I can say here, and I can give you a multitude of scenarios, but you got to make sure the person that you're with has the same goals as you. Not everything is going to line up, but the major key tectonic plate level goals need to be the same. And this leads into the last thing. This is completely different from the two things I just talked about, okay? The one of the biggest things that I can say that allows a relationship to succeed, and nobody really talks about this because it's taboo in modern day culture, is temptation. Staying away from temptation. We live in a culture where the smartphone is normalized. Everyone has a smartphone, and inside that smartphone is a nightclub, is a 24/7 disco with these dating apps and social media. Everyone has social media nowadays. It's a thing to do. Everyone has an Instagram. Everyone has a TikTok. Everyone has everything. And some of you might say, well, I don't have this. Well, you probably have another thing. You probably have a Snapchat. You probably have a Twitter. You probably have whatever it is. Look, social media allows us to connect to anyone in the world. Anyone in the world. Think about that for a second. Never in history has there been a time where you can reach out to a guy in Australia, a girl in Germany, message them, talk to them, set it up. I mean, a lot of people that I know, some of the pro athletes I know, they're flying girls in from London and, hooking up with them. And these girls have boyfriends. But they're able to do it because of social media. And that temptation is always going to exist on social media. You guys got to understand that social media has opened up a whole new world when it comes to infidelity. You can literally meet people anywhere in the world at any time if you have a large social media following. If you just Google a hashtag, if I'm in Spain and I Google hashtag Madrid, I can find people that are in that area and I can find restaurants and bars. It's an amazing tool. In a lot of ways, it's absolutely amazing. But anything that gives you great power can also give you great weakness. And when you get in a committed partnership with someone that you love very much, that temptation that you have with social media can almost always add some level of, temptation there. It's not good. And it breaks down a lot of relationships. Now, is this me saying delete your social media? No, it's not. But you have to be mindful with how you use it. So let me break it down a little bit. Number one, it's like your For You page. Make sure that you're hitting not interested in all the ads and the temptation that you see there. Like, you go to my For You page, it's literally motivational videos, it's cars, and it's like dogs. It's Rottweilers, right? There's no girls. It used to be that. It used to be a lot of girls, and they know that sex sells. But I hit not interested enough times, and I stay away from it. I don't engage with it. I don't want that. Even though I'm not in a relationship right now. Even though I'm not in a relationship, because I just don't want to get used to that temptation. It's like pornography for me, honestly. I just don't want to give into it. So that's the first thing. I don't follow girls that are like bikini models unless I know them personally, unless I actually have done work with them before. And that's a different scenario. But I don't follow that level of temptation. I don't engage with random people unless, they're reaching out to me. A lot of times people reach out to me on social media. I'll tell you this, guys, right now. If I did not have the platform that I have right now, if it wasn't for business, I would absolutely not have social media. Here's the caveat, though. Social media is almost always good for business. If you have a car dealership, it's good for you. If you're an attorney, it's good for you. If you sell, if you're a bartender, it's good for you. You can always post, come visit me, come see me at my shift, come buy a car for me. If you need help, I'm an attorney, blah, blah. Social media is good for business purposes, but a lot of people don't use it for business purposes. And I'm going to jump into marketing here. Whenever you use social media, it's not strictly for business purposes. You need to show a little bit of your life because people are attracted to individuals rather than brands. So even when I'm coaching clients on how to use social media in our marketing business, it's not just post business stuff. It's show a side of your life and show a side of business. But this is a very slippery slope because people can use it and abuse it in the wrong way. They go down a dangerous path where they build their social media up, and you're going to have people that reach out to you. I have people that reach out to me. It's temptation. And when you're in a committed partnership, it's not good for you. The DMs of a girl that's 19 that looks attractive, she's a 6 out of 10. Let's just put her on an objective scale. So what I mean by that is that she's not the most beautiful girl in the world, but she's, relatively attractive. Her DMs are crazy. They're nuts. They're filled with options. And sometimes it's hard to say no to the guy that's got hundreds of thousands of followers, if not millions, that wants to fly you out. I'm being serious. And some of you might say, I say no every single day to all these guys. I don't even look at them. Yes, you don't look at them, but you know they're there. And that thought of knowing is actually what creates the breakage in the relationship. Because when you have a problem, it's not immediately going to fixing it. 1%, 2% is, hey, I have this guy that's a really, really successful man in my DMs, and he can fly me out, and I can do all these things, and I can have fun, and I can get away. And he's going to treat me a lot better than him. And that thought process is what causes you to not build the relationship. That social media is a serious thing that breaks down a lot of relationships. It causes analysis paralysis. There's just too many options. When I see an attractive girl on social media and she's reaching out to me, it's like there's an option there. And, I'm a single guy now. Is it good? In theory, yes. But if I'm in a committed relationship, I want to stay away from this. That's why I don't build my life and I don't build these relationships up. Because I know that one day I want to move into a really good relationship, and I'm just not trying to build I'm trying to build the right environment that's conducive to that. Another thing, let's talk about temptation is going out to bars and nightclubs and restaurants and places like that. Like restaurants are one thing, but bars and nightclubs. Listen, when you have temptation with alcohol, drugs, vices, and you decrease your inhibition, it's automatically going to be a situation where you're going to engage in some kind of temptation, right? You go to a bar or nightclub, you're drinking alcohol, you're looking at a ton of hot girls or guys, whatever, and the music, light, sound, everything is just all about connection, sex, intimacy. It's just a really bad, it's a bad environment for your relationship. When I see people that are, in a relationship going out on a Saturday night, I'm like, what are you guys doing here? What are you guys doing? Oh, I'm having fun. I'm having a girls' night. Why? I'm listening to music. Listen to music in your living room with your partner. You don't need this. There's some really good headphones I can recommend to you. Go listen to music there. I want to dance. No, you're here for attention. You're here for some kind of engagement. I go out still, and I go out to network. But it's not about me talking to girls. It's about me talking to guys. I talk to the men that I meet at bars because it's a great watering hole for people to come to. But it's still temptation. And I'm single now. But if I was married and in a serious relationship with somebody, I would definitely decrease it or not go at all. It's just not good. It's temptation. And another thing I'm going to talk about here is the friends that you keep around you, your friend group. I had a group of friends that always went out when I was working at the nightclub. And they were really successful guys. They made a lot of money. They were very sharp people, but they always went out. When I started my business in financial services, I couldn't hang out with them anymore because I couldn't drink every single day. I had to be up early and working. And so my schedule shifted because I was a promoter at a nightclub. I would kind of wake up at 3 or 4 and kind of go out at night. And I used to bar back and do all that kind of stuff. And, I used to be up later. And so I could sleep in a little bit more. I could see these people and it was fine. But when I started working in financial services, I couldn't do that. I had to kind of wake up early and change my schedule. And I remember feeling really guilty for cutting these people off. I didn't cut them off. Let's put it like this, right? I got distance from them. And, there were some of them that didn't like me for it. And there were some of them that really understood. They were like, hey, we get it. You're trying to build something. It's cool. And those ones that understood it, I'm still friends with them till this day. And so, sometimes there are good people that are just not good for certain things that you're trying to build. So your single friend, this is especially true with ladies. Oh my God, I could go into this all day. Ladies, your best friend that's single that wants to go out all the time is not good for you when you're in a relationship. Honestly, any single girls are not good for you when you're in a relationship because they want you to be single. Because they know that when women get in relationships, like really, really stable, long-term relationships, they pull away from going out and all that stuff. And they're single friends and, you know, the girls that are trying to go out, that's all they have to do. They go out, party, talk about men, gossip about men. Like, you go to a girl's brunch and breakfast, it's just about men. It's all about men. Now, the women that are married and in a committed partnership, it's about comparing what their men do a lot of times. It's about sizing things up, and that is what it is. But a lot of that gossip is very toxic, especially when it comes from single women. It's the same thing with your boys. Like, you know, these boys trips, like, they're not good for you. They're not good for you and your girlfriend. Man, I'll just drive. I'll just DD. Dude, there's going to be a girl that talks to you. She might be attractive. You might be a drink in. I don't care what you say. It's going to add 1% to your mindset that, hey, this is out here for me. And it's not about not realizing it's out here or not realizing you have options. It's not that. But it's about being completely locked in and bought into the partnership. You made an ethical and moral commitment with this person. Don't mess it up. Don't even think about stepping out of it. See, back in the day, relationships were a lot more stable because we didn't have social media. Bars and nightclubs weren't as provocative as they are now. Women go in wearing absolutely nothing. Guys are buying bottle service. That stuff started in like the late 90s, 2000s, right? Where people are just flexing bottles. There's a whole new culture now. Nightclubs and bars, like they're like fashion shows now. Real talk. And, you know, your friends, there was cultural values that held society together. Like, America was a very Christian country. And, you know, a lot of foreign countries have a very strong religion that governs them. Nowadays, we have a blend and mix, which is wonderful. I'm happy for that. But there's no uniform thinking mindset. And the thinking mindset I could say today is modernistic. It's just think for yourself. And so you can go down a very dangerous path if you have the wrong friends in your life. They may be good people. They may be people that are not necessarily like ill-intentioned, but they're not building the right environment for you. If you're in a relationship, it's not good to be friends with single people. Like, you can be friends with them, but you have to have a little bit of distance. And I say this I say this with a lot of respect. Like, I don't want you to cut your friends off, but I want you to be mindful of the decisions that you're making and the environment that you're creating. You need to incubate your relationship in the right environment. You need to, if you're married, have some friends that are married. And stay away. I would stay off social media if you're married. Why do you need social media if you're a married girl? Like, people gasp, like, oh, how could you say that? Like, why do you need it if your husband is taking care of everything? You know, to what? To look at the news, to browse things? Like, I guess, maybe. But you know what comes with that. Most people don't have the discipline to stay on. The digital discipline is something that's not taught. It's digital discipline, where you have limits on every app, where you only go in to do this, that, and the third. When I go into my social media, it's like I'm a surgeon. I have to stay focused on what I'm doing. I have trained myself, and it's still hard to this day, to not browse, to not go through, and scroll. Like, it's hard to not do that. I still do that sometimes. And I'm like, what am I doing? Obviously, in the platform that I have, I can justify it as, oh, I'm looking at market and trending and what's not. I can say that. I'm looking at what's going on. But it's still not good for me. It is not good for me. And so I say this with a lot of love. That temptation is what's going to kill your relationship. So make sure, number one, you're not leading with love. You're leading with shared values and shared beliefs. Make sure you guys have the same goals long-term and continuously touch up on these goals, because people change and goals change. And you'll have a great indication of if the relationship is going in the right way or in a wrong way based off your conversations about your goals. And last but not least, cut the temptation out of your life. The best things that you can do to stabilize a long-term relationship.